Hey guys, welcome to Frasier Friday. Dan here, Merlin here, co-host of the Frasier Friday show.
Some people call me Joe.
I call you Joe sometimes, yes.
Joe,
I try to call you Merlin because that's your
Merlin
nom de plume here.
Merlin, also known as Joe sometimes.
Yes, Joe sometimes. Not unrelated,
on the streets, they call me Joe sometimes.
Not that unrelated to Joe Cool, Snoopy's alter ego.
Joe Cool.
in the Peanuts.
I like Snoopy.
Yes, I love all the... Once again, we've gone off the rails within about 3 seconds. Yes, I love the Peanuts. I love the cartoons, the comic strips,
And the movie.
The movie actually was great.
It's pretty good.
It was like a greatest hits of the Peanuts.
Yeah, but I was fine with it.
But yeah, what else are you gonna do? Put a whole new story together?
You could.
You could, but you haven't done a Peanuts thing in like 20 years. Like you may as well just give them the hits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, what do people rush out for? A new Rolling Stones album or the new Rolling Stones greatest hits record? They like the hits. You know?
Gotta give them the hits.
The amount of time we spend not talking about Frasier.
It's almost like there's something going on.
Frasier Friday.
Well, with Frasier, like, maybe... Okay, I'll tell you what.
Tell me.
I'll tell you what. When we finally wrap this up, we'll have to do our greatest of Frasier. We'll have to compile together
I guess that's true.
Our greatest Frasier hits.
Yep, and it'll mostly be us talking about X-Men movies. I feel like.
Yes.
Oh, although Patrick Stewart, one of the best guests on Frasier.
Yes, that will come up.
I looped it around.
And I did say...
That is a great episode.
I did tell him that I want some other Frasier-related things. We've got to do some Sideshow bio specials.
Yeah, more grammar specifically.
Grammar specific. We got
Expendables 3.
X-Men.
And he is in X-Men as Beast.
What's that? The one he did with Kevin Hart. Randomly, he's the agent for like a scene.
Think Like a Man 2.
Think Like a Man 2. We got to talk about that. That great film.
Yes.
So,
and all of his failed sitcoms and just the whole thing.
Anyway.
All right, so welcome to Frasier Friday. Let's continue on with season 3.
Mm-hmm.
We're halfway through this. You'll notice the great new background as you noticed in the first Frasier episode. I'm kind of it's not as maybe fun as seeing all the DVDs behind us, but
collection, yeah.
It's nice.
Some Pearl Jam you can kind of make
a little change of pace here. Anyway, so we get now to the worst grade I've given so far for a Frasier episode.
Okay.
Okay. This is called Moon Dance. It's a C+. And this is where Niles needs to go to this dance to, we already talked about this in the first half of the season, but Maris is sort of going through a separation with him, and so he is realizing he's maybe falling out of favor with society.
Dan.
Yes.
You don't like this one.
Yeah, I don't. Do you like it?
I don't think it was that bad.
All right,
with the dancing? With
yes.
the Daphne?
Alright, I want to talk about why.
Okay, tell me why. I'm
now,
interested.
first of all,
Alright.
This show is called Frasier.
True.
Well, Frasier's not really in this episode. He leaves at the very beginning on a trip. So this episode is... And Roz is barely in it. This episode is Niles and Daphne and Martin a little bit, which is okay. Now, the reason Frasier is absent is because Kelsey Grammer actually directed the episode.
Yeah.
So I would imagine... I don't know this, for a fact, but since he directed it and the character's barely in it, I would imagine he wanted to focus on the directing.
Sure.
So when I first saw it, I thought, oh, he must have been shooting a movie or something, prepping for Expendables 3 in 15 years, perhaps. But then I saw he was the director. I was like, okay, so he's probably just focusing on behind the camera, which is fine. The directing is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But I just think we've already gone to the well so often with the Daphne Niles stuff. And
sick of it a little bit.
Here's the thing. So last time we talked about how quick the Kate thing was, came and went. Now here we have the extended version. This is now years in the making. Like I said, I like a little will they or won't they. But as I stated, it doesn't need to be years. It doesn't need to necessarily be Jim and Pam here. But more to the point, it makes Daphne seem like an imbecile for not even realizing that he has these feelings for her. And this episode specifically, it's like pretty obvious. More than I think any that we've seen yet.
I have to admit, that did bug me a little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Daphne, and I've thought about that building up to the show too, and I've wondered, with the little hints, Daphne has to notice.
Right.
A little.
A little.
Right? Like, just a
There's
little.
no, like, inkling. There's no, you know, like...
Like a moment. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were such a good actor. Acting. Like,
yeah.
Like, how could,
like
how
he,
could
he
you...
screams out, I adore
like,
you during their dance,
like how,
and she thinks it's acting.
How could you not, like, pick up just a little...
Right.
Like,
and they're kissing in this episode. Like, it's, you know, because it's all putting on a show for his society friends.
Sure.
But, of course, that's to her. To him, yes, there's that, but there's also, oh my God, I'm dancing with the woman I love, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But it just makes her seem like a moron.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It does, actually.
And she's a little bit flighty, you know, with the psychic stuff, but she's not stupid.
No.
So
She's pretty sharp.
She's actually very sharp. So I certainly missed Frasier in this episode, and I don't know, I didn't really care for that.
Huh.
I also thought it was written oddly. There were just some weird jokes. Well, here you go. Look at this. There's like 9 writers for this episode.
Ah.
Okay. Like the one joke that stood out to me was there was like a play on words between coroner and corner, and it just seemed like an out of place joke in a scene between Martin and Niles. Like I don't know. It seemed very off to me this episode.
Okay.
So that's how we start. But then we get to probably my favorite of the season, the show where Diane comes back.
Ah.
Now this is
that was a good one.
the third Cheers alum we've seen. We of course have seen Lilith a couple of times, and then Ted Danson last season, and now this season we have Shelley Long reprising her great role as Diane.
Mm-hmm.
What I like the most about this one, more than the Danson one, is it felt a lot more natural.
Mm-hmm.
The Danson one I liked, okay, Téa Leoni,
Yes.
of course, but it seemed very forced. You know, let's get our sweeps ratings, and I bet this is February sweeps. Yep, February 13th.
Huh.
So, and that's fine. You know, let's bring a Cheers person back every season, I guess.
Sure.
But you know what's so great about this episode is, now of course, you know, I know you're not quite in the Cheers lore.
No.
As I am.
But I got it.
But you got it. I mean, you know, she left him at the altar. I mean, they get you up to speed. You know, she left Frasier at the altar way back when, and blah, blah, blah. So here she's, you know, in town to produce a play, and she needs some backing, and da-da-da-da. So he goes to see the play, and it's literally...
It's Cheers.
It's Cheers. And I thought, as a love letter to all of the Cheers fans that are you know, have stuck around now for Frasier, it was brilliantly written. It was funny as hell. And what's interesting about this character is, you know, don't forget she was off of Cheers the last half of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So other than when she played the character at the very last, the Cheers finale, you know, this is a character that she hadn't played in over 10 years, and she just slipped right back into it. You know, her back and forth with Frasier was great. Mm-hmm. And of course, none of them had known Diane, so it was like they were all meeting her after just hearing about her. I just loved it. I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, as a Cheers fan.
And as someone who's not quite as well versed in Cheers...
Yeah, what did you think? I'm curious.
I actually thought that it was just very well written.
Yeah.
Because I remember...
Sharp writing.
I remember Diane. I always liked her.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely can understand why Frasier might have tried to end up with her. And I thought that, considering I actually didn't see those episodes, I really got a good sense of the impact of the character just from the acting and the writing. And I thought that the best thing about the episode, I thought, was kind of the little twist
at the end. Yeah.
You know, and then it's a classic perception thing. You know, that happens. Is like, you know, Diane trying to put on this big front about how she's like successful, and Frasier's jealous of her, wants to show that he's not really bothered by her like leaving him at the altar, and then of course she's actually just had a bad string of luck, and
since leaving Cheers.
And then he's kind of like falls for her again, and then feels bad for her, and then kind of gets angry again when it's like, oh man, like, but then they get the chance to really get that closure. Yeah. Which I thought it was very sweet.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the best written episodes, I think. It's probably my favorite Cheers alum episode. Mm-hmm. And I'm not counting the Lilith episodes. I think we've talked about this. Like she's sort of in a class by herself just because she's the ex.
She's a recurring character.
She is actually a recurring
guest,
character. Yes. You're right. You're right.
Special guest.
Special guest, BB North as Lilith. So yeah, I've always liked this one, and and on top of everything that we've mentioned, we also get a taste of her version of the people that we already know and love from Cheers.
Yes.
It's almost like when Seinfeld wrote the show within a show, and you got to see Jeremy Piven as George, and you got to see these people come in as the characters we already know.
That's always fun.
Yeah. So I think just all the way around, this is a good episode. All right, so up next is A Word to the Wise Guy. Now, this I gave an okay grade to.
Well,
I gave it a B, but you are the absolute mob authority. Real briefly, Niles needed some help with his legal issues, so they brought in a member of the mob, which freaks Martin out. So why don't you talk mainly about this one, because I imagine you loved it way more than me.
Yes, you're right. He just tries to make the problem go away, and so of course naturally he owes him a favor, but he doesn't want a favor from this Dr. Crane. He wants it from Frasier.
From Frasier, of course,
because
he's got the radio show.
He's got the radio show, and
his girlfriend Brandy
is a fan of the radio show, and he's like wants to leave him, and he's like, you got to make sure that it comes together. I want you to really make sure it comes together,
right?
Because if you don't, the consequences.
I'll be very unhappy.
Be very, very unhappy. And of course, Frasier, even though he thinks, once again, it's the ethics we talked about.
Always with the ethics,
on
yes.
Air, he's like, I can't. She fears that, he's, this guy's treating her very badly. He's like, I cannot in good conscience say to stay with him, even if he is a mobster, and like, hopefully you'll see me tomorrow, everybody, if I make it. But then, of course, the wise guy comes, and he's just kind of sad because he's like, if
he doesn't put a hit out on anybody.
He doesn't put a hit on anybody, and just kind of explains to him, well, I have done this to her and kept her from getting a job because she's lost them all. She's terrible. Like hearing it from another perspective actually seems reasonable. The guy actually does care about her, even though he's a mobster. I like that actor too. I've seen him in other things.
Yeah, he pops up.
So I thought this one was pretty funny. My only thing is kind of a minor thing is I do think that the characterization of the mobster probably could have been a little more rough. Like the guy.
It's very sitcom-y.
It's very sitcom-y.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like, if you want to. I mean, after you see something like Sopranos, that genuine, heavy set, gruff, seems like a kind of a street level guy. This guy seems like he's rich and sophisticated. Like, is he really a gangster?
Right.
Like, maybe, but that's the only minor thing I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was still pretty funny.
Okay.
And of course, he ends up getting a job. Niles'
with
office,
Niles,
as
the secretary.
That was funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I enjoyed it.
All right, so let's see. Then we've got Look Before You Leap. This is where it's Leap Day.
Leap Day.
Leap Day, February 29th, and Frasier wants everybody to shake up their routine, and so everybody's sort of trying something new, and it all backfires because it's Frasier's advice, and and then at the end of the episode, he's the only one that didn't change because after seeing everybody else's disasters,
the PBS
he decides to sing his usual song on the PBS special instead of changing it up. It was okay. I gave it a B as well.
I thought that one was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous.
It was like, not all the advice can be that bad.
Yes,
come on.
Correct. So up next, I have an A for this one. High Crane Drifter. I like this one. This is when everybody around Frasier seems to be losing their manners, and Frasier does not care for this. So he ends up talking about this on the air and everything, common courtesy. So everybody starts hailing Frasier as a hero. Because he, yelled at this guy, shoves him out of the cafe.
That was a good one.
I thought it was very funny, and I thought it was.
It's kind of like the fight one.
It was a bit like the fight one, yes, with the newspaper critic. I just found it very realistic that somebody would turn around and then try and sue him, for standing up for himself, and it's like that really is kind of the world we live in. Like, he's not wrong. I feel like manners are a thing of the past for a lot of people.
No, he's right. It's one of those tough things where he absolutely common courtesy, it should exist, but how do you enforce something like that?
Right.
And then he tries to do something, and everyone corrects, and then where does it end?
Mm-hmm.
He tries to go with a big thing, but how they get out of it though with Niles is great.
And that's what I think. That's really what put it over the edge for me with the grade.
Countersuit.
It's so funny at the end, where they kind of go into that. All right, so up next is chest pains. This is a pretty good one. This is the one with Frasier keeps losing to Martin at chess.
This one is good.
Yeah,
but it's missing something.
I gave it a B+. Yeah, I don't think it's perfect for sure. I don't think that plot is really enough to hold
an
the
episode
together.
That should have been like a B plot.
Yeah, and here the B plot is Niles gets a dog that is exactly like Maris, which is okay. But we've seen that before.
It was okay.
It was okay. So I agree. Maybe B+ is even too high for this episode.
Because I thought the chess thing was like
the chess thing
got
was
tired after.
Well,
the
I
first
liked
couple
it.
of
I
shows.
liked it, but you're right. It's not enough to hold the whole episode together.
No.
So that may be a little bit too high.
A little bit. Maybe.
But I like the dynamic that Frasier is just so incensed that he's not that he's losing, but that he's losing to Martin.
No, that
dumb, average-brained Martin.
No, it was good. That
and I like that
good.
part. Yeah,
you're right. Maybe they could have had that as the theme, and the chess is like the beginning of that, and then maybe it could have tailored into something else. Maybe.
And that was kind of how I felt about. Remember that episode? I think it was in season 2 where Martin had everybody at the poker game, and one of them was a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that could have been actually stretched to the whole episode, and they only did it for like 8 minutes.
True.
Like the first act. All right, now up next, I bet you love this one. Crane versus Crane. This is when the two of them are against each other in court because they take separate sides of the mental facilities
that one
of this man. Was this maybe your favorite of the season?
Could be my favorite of the season.
Okay, it's an A- for me.
It's pretty good.
But I thought it was very funny. The reveal at the end where he is actually insane is perfect. It's classic Frasier.
Yep.
Because Frasier thinks he's like foot and mouth. He's like thinks he's doing the right thing, and then as he's saying it,
well, I'm done.
The other person shows that no, Frasier, you're actually completely wrong on this one.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Yeah,
I really liked that one.
So you would say maybe the best of the season?
It could be.
Yeah.
There might be one other one coming up though. I really liked too.
Interesting. Okay.
But I did.
There's 5 left, so we'll see.
I think there might be, but that one's very up there for me.
I do have an A coming up. I gave that one an A-.
Oh, okay.
I do have an A coming up. All right, so up next is this is a B one. It's called Police Story. This is where we meet Jane Kasmerick, who plays the mother on Malcolm in the Middle.
I like seeing her.
A police. I love seeing her, and this is obviously 4 or 5 years before Malcolm.
Yeah, big hair.
Yeah, huge hair.
It's like, wow.
And this is Frasier gets pulled over for speeding, tries to get out of it by, hey, do you know who I am, kind of thing. And then she ends up falling for Martin.
Maybe, I don't know maybe it's because I just like her.
I do like her.
I was like, and Frasier honestly trying to date a police officer like he was talking about early on, like he was excited about that idea. I thought that she would have been cool as an interesting love interest.
I know.
I was like, no,
she didn't really end up sticking around.
No, but I liked that that dynamic. I thought they had some chemistry in there too.
Here's what I didn't really like about it. Is that they decided at the end not to really make a go of it, and I agree. I thought her and Martin had great chemistry. I thought it was interesting because, it's not like she is way too young for Martin. Age-wise, she's kind of in the middle there between, maybe Frasier and Martin. Probably more on Frasier's end. But, I mean, he was an ex-cop, so it's like they have that to bond over. I don't know. I think
there could have been something.
I think there could have been more to it that they could have explored even in future episodes.
Definitely.
I like for that. Because, I do like her. All right, so up next, Where There's Smoke, There's Fired. I gave this one a B as well. So here we meet yet another station owner for KACL. We've already lost Kate in the first half of the season. So we've got this Texas millionaire in his 80s that is just into country music and doing all this stuff that Frasier is just like, it's just completely out of his wheelhouse. But he's trying to get his fiance to stop smoking, and we find his fiance is BB Glazer. We haven't had a BB episode yet this season, so we're coming up on the end of the season. We get a BB episode.
That's a really good one too.
It's not bad. It's certainly, we've had better BB episodes, but
the smoking thing's pretty great.
The smoking thing is pretty great because we've seen people try and quit smoking in other sitcoms.
The description.
The description is great. I love the way that she handles it. I love her actually.
Yeah.
I do, but I like that she's only in one season, like we talked about. Like she's great in small doses. We can't have her even as a recurring character, really.
Does that make her? So is she?
I guess she would be recurring if she's once a season. But
a recurring special guest, because she's like she gets one every.
Yes,
season.
She gets one every season, and it's not like she just kind of pops in. I mean, the one she's in every season is basically she's the plot. Yeah, like her and Frasier are basically the plot. I guess I do like this one probably a little more than a B. Maybe it's B plus. I'll give it a B plus.
Okay, it was pretty good.
Right.
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, right.
So you like BB. She's better than that.
I do like BB. So next we've got Frasier loves Roz. Roz is going to a wedding here as a bridesmaid, and so she's actually barely in this one, but so she starts thinking about settling down, getting a man, and then she finds out. We see this guy that she's dating, Ben, is that his name? Yeah. And Niles recognizes him as one of his patients.
Philanderer.
Yes, he's got women all over town. But of course he can't,
patient
tell her that. Patient confidentiality.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Yeah, Roz actually is in this one a lot. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I thought this was the one where she goes away at the beginning of it. But I think that's the one, the moon dance one, I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is barely in that one too. But this one was okay. I don't mind Roz-centered episodes necessarily, but I feel like I like them more when they're really involving, like, I don't know, other people that are already on the show, like the one with her and Bulldog, where she becomes his producer. This one was okay.
I mean, they're playing around with an idea they'll hint at later on.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I think there are better episodes later on that deal with that.
Yes, I guess that is true. Yeah, maybe that's what didn't do it for me. Yeah, because there's a key part at the end of this episode where she thinks Frasier is into her, and
and I mean it's interesting because
they flirt with that idea a little bit, but
I was mistaken because I remembered another episode that I think is later on, which kind of.
I believe that's in season 6 maybe or 7,
something like that. And I thought I was like, oh wait a minute, and I was expecting it to be that one. I didn't think this one was as good as that one. I
agree.
Reasons.
Yeah, and I thought the same thing when I saw the title. I thought I didn't think that
happens.
I was like, I didn't think that happened already, but sure enough, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sort of flirt with it a little bit. But yeah, I thought that one was just kind of okay.
Yeah.
But now here we go. This is one of my other favorite ones, other than the Diane one. This might be my favorite of the season.
Because of Monk.
The focus group. This
I just don't like it.
This actually, boy, I gave this one an A. It might be an A plus. There's no A pluses for me this season.
Oh.
But this one and the Diane one come very close. Yeah. So we have a focus group with Frasier and the show, and of course they're behind the glass, and Tony Shalhoub, Monk himself. Which, by the way, as an aside, I just got the Monk series.
Oh.
Amazon Prime special.
Nice.
$30. Which I have not watched a lot of. I've seen like an episode here or there.
There's a lot of episodes, aren't there?
I think it's like 6 seasons or something.
It's on for
maybe more. But anyway, so this is early Tony Shalhoub.
Yes.
Right after Wings, I guess. Or maybe he was still on Wings at the time. I don't know. But he just doesn't like him.
Just don't like him.
And
maybe it's
Frasier
or what he says.
Can't get past it. He can't move past the fact, I forget how many people were in the room, maybe 8 people or something.
It was 12 people.
Or 12 people.
And
everybody liked him.
Except this one guy.
Yep.
And Frasier just is focusing on
and
that.
And they didn't just like him. I mean, it was
they
just like, I listen to his show all the time. Like, I love his voice. I love his advice. Da-da-da-da-da.
Great.
On and on and on. And one guy.
Just don't like him.
So, the capper to this, where he literally burns down the newspaper stand that the guy owns. It's just classic Frasier. Like, he has to keep inserting himself until it's
just makes
far
it worse.
too late. Yeah, and it makes it worse. So,
Oh, man.
great episode.
Great episode.
Right? All right, and then finally we have You Can Go Home Again. I give this one an A-. This one, we've talked about this, but the season enders are typically bottle episodes. They are typically more introspective episodes than laugh out loud riots. And this one I thought was nice. It was touching. It's their 3rd anniversary of the show, and Roz and Frasier, or Roz gives Frasier a copy of the first episode, and he listens to it and sort of relates it to his current life.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was really
that was well
nice.
Written.
Yeah.
You know what? And I will say, the reason why... Okay, this one is probably one of my other favorites in the season. But there is one big issue I have with it.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it had one of my favorite laughs the whole season, which was when he's bumbling on his first show, and he's missing the with lady's advice. Oh, you should repeat his statement. And someone will think, "My husband's dead." Like that got me laughing. Yeah, because he really good. Yeah, that was a good one. And but there's a continuity problem.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like.
Tell me.
Can you guess what it is? Well, this is a flashback to the first show they ever did. His hair.
Oh.
They didn't. He doesn't have the long.
They
first
didn't give him the mullet.
And I was like,
the balding.
That distracted me the whole time. No mullet.
Isn't that interesting?
I was like, you couldn't even have some wasn't that going to distract me?
I did not think of that.
That's annoying.
Yes, it is. Now that you say that,
that's annoying.
Well, there you go. There's my minus.
That's your minus. I was like, I
didn't think of that, but
that bugged me.
Yeah, you're right, and that's pretty easy to
fix.
To do, yeah, to fix.
But
isn't that interesting? Very good.
But even so, seeing how things have developed since then.
Yeah.
His relationship with his brother.
With Roz and Niles and Martin.
So, they started off rocky, strained.
Yeah.
But it's come a long way.
Come a long way. Well, as we start off, of course, we see, Roz is the true mastermind behind the show because she's such a good producer.
She is.
He doesn't know what the hell he's doing at first, So just to see that and to see their relationship sort of develop from that. Yeah, I agree. I think of the 3 we've seen so far, season finales, this is my favorite.
I agree.
By a good bit. All right, so that's season 3. Let's see. Do we want to talk about any specific characters, character arcs? We didn't really get to the bottom of the Maris thing. That sort of sticks around for a little while longer. We had a couple of episodes, with the gangster, and a lot of the side plots of these episodes had to do with him, losing his credit card access, or not being on the society page as she is, that kind of thing.
Niles kind of slowly getting phased out of her life.
Yeah, but we don't. These are mostly the B stories. We haven't had too many centric episodes.
They haven't fully divorced, I guess, by this point, have they?
No, they're just still separated.
Yeah. So I guess, and I forget how long he hangs in with that as a possibility.
It's a little while.
It is a little while?
I can't remember. It's not too many seasons, but it might be halfway or more through the 4th season before they actually call it quits.
Because I know the Daphne stuff doesn't happen until fairly later on, actually.
I feel like it's season 6 with Daphne.
Because
we have a whole season with her and Donnie, because she's about to marry him.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like almost an entire season. So yeah, I don't, he hasn't even been introduced yet. So
no, so I think, but I think it's really. I think that Niles' development is becoming more noticeable because I think season 3 might be where he becomes much more likable. Like he
certainly becomes more sure of himself. Yeah, more humble.
Humble.
Yeah, but when I say sure of himself, I don't mean cocky. I just mean he has a backbone.
Yes.
He's starting to stand up to Maris. He's starting to sort of identify what he wants. Mm-hmm. We've known, obviously, he wants Daphne, but aside from that...
He's going for it. He's taking risks. He's
he's actually,
letting loose sometimes.
At one episode this season, he's contemplating, telling her, and of course then they have to dance together and whatever. And I think in season 4 he really gets more bold with that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And almost tells her, I think, in one episode, and then she ends up, meeting somebody else that night. But yeah, he's you're right. His arc is getting, more, I don't know, more defined or more, I don't know, he's just moving further with the character.
Definitely, that's probably the most noticeable thing.
I would say so.
That stands out to me.
Yeah.
It's probably, I think. Yeah, I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say so. Daphne's still a little psychic.
A little bit psychic.
Very
comes
little,
and goes.
It's like I think, oh, have they dropped it? No, she's still kind of psychic.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But I like we said, where we're learning more about her dynamic in the house and with the family and all of that.
They're growing with that. I guess minor thing, Frasier doesn't hate Eddie quite as much.
No, he's growing on him somewhat.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not quite as much hate.
Yeah, there's not as much.
There's
sort of
jokes,
bile spewing about that.
No.
Trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, I think this was a solid season. I guess we grade all the seasons. I would give this one, I don't know, a B plus maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it was as funny.
Not as on par as the first two, for sure.
No.
Some great episodes.
Definitely.
But I think a little more inconsistent on the whole, and more sort of more B grade episodes than A grade episodes.
And there's a lot of episodes that are like bottle episodes and subplots.
Yeah.
Like there isn't as much cohesiveness there.
Yeah.
And I do feel like this one's much more of a transitional one than the other two.
I would say that. Well, and it would have to be with certainly Niles and Maris,
Mm-hmm.
but also, even though it was fairly short-lived, I would say Kate is probably Frasier's first really long-term relationship of the series.
True.
Right? I mean, even though it was only, like we said, a few episodes.
Yeah.
So that was something, as well. And we see Martin trying to get out there as well with Jane Kazmarek. He's starting to date a little bit now.
So there's
there's a lot of sort of little changes and little steps forward going on. But you're right, Niles I think is making the biggest.
Yeah, he's the most obvious
of all the leaps. Yeah.
Yes, even in the leap
forward. Year. Even in leap year, you're right. You nailed it again. All right. Well, on that note, yeah, I think B plus is probably good for this season. Right?
I think that sounds about right. Sure.
So we'll be back at some point with season 4. Of course, we don't do these every week, but when we do, we try to knock them both out. So we have every 1 week will be part 1, the next week will be part 2, and then maybe it'll take a couple more weeks to get the next season up. But
upload them on a Friday.
Yeah, we always upload on Friday, Frasier Fridays, and then we have more Disney stuff to do. We've got Dumbo coming up.
Mm-hmm.
There's already 3 of the Disney movies that we've reviewed: Snow White, Pinocchio, and Fantasia, and they're up. And then The Reluctant Dragon is this behind-the-scenes studio tour. I have to review that, which by the time this gets up, we'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see where I am with it.
Okay.
I started to watch it once. And then we'll get Dumbo on as well.
All right. And then after Dumbo, is it Bambi?
I think Bambi is the next one, yeah.
Wow.
And then we get into like all the music ones. The music montage, like Make Mine Music, The Three Caballeros, Footloose and Fancy Free or something? Fun and Fancy Free? I don't know.
There might be some I've missed.
These are things that just no one talks about.
I might have seen it briefly somewhere, but we'll talk about it.
And I mean, there's so many things, ideas for the channel. We may do some of the classic cartoons, maybe. We don't know. And then, of course, the Merlin channel.
Yes.
Always talking about all of the topics.
Literally.
With special guests.
Any podcast, talk about any topics relating to pretty much anything.
You have a wide variety.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get.
We talked a lot about Spice Girls last time I was on.
Hey, I don't even care. I'm like, sure.
I don't know how that happened, but we did.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, but now you do.
A little more.
A little more. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, please. We've already reached 300 subscribers, which is awesome. So keep that up. Yes, get to 301.
It's been 300 for a while.
That's very true.
Join.
And that's it, I guess. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.